the Page-Turner bookstore sat nestled between a coffee shop and a dry cleaner on Maple Street. It was the kind of independent bookstore that had somehow survived the Amazon era barely. Shelves sagged under the weight of new and used books. The smell of old paper and fresh coffee mingled in the air. A bell chimed softly whenever someone entered. Behind the counter, Jennifer Morrison, 35, was arguing with her business partner and ex-husband, David Morrison, 37. Their voices were hushed but tense. "We're $80,000 in debt, Jen. $80,000. The bank is threatening foreclosure." David gestured at the nearly empty store. "It's 2 p.m. on a Saturday, and we have 3 customers. 3. Jennifer's jaw tightened. "We've been through rough patches before." "This isn't a rough patch. This is a death spiral. We need to sell." "That developer offered us $250,000 for the property. We could pay our debts and walk away with something." "Walk away to what?" "This store is our life. It's Emma's heritage. My grandmother started this place in 1952. I'm not letting it become another luxury condo." "Your grandmother didn't have Amazon and ebooks destroying her business model." David's frustration boiled over. "Be realistic. Nobody reads physical books anymore. Nobody cares about independent bookstores. We're dinosaurs." "Then I'd rather be a dinosaur with integrity than whatever you're suggesting we become." Jennifer turned away, tears threatening. "This conversation is over." David grabbed his jacket. "Fine, but when we lose everything and we will, don't say I didn't warn you." He stormed out, the bell chiming angrily behind him. Jennifer stood alone in her dying bookstore, surrounded by thousands of stories, wondering if her own story was about to end. In the biography section, a man in his early 50s browsed quietly. He wore simple jeans, a plain sweater, and reading glasses. Nothing about him suggested wealth or importance. He'd been there for 30 minutes, carefully examining books, reading back covers, occasionally taking notes on his phone. This was Jonathan Webb, though the name wouldn't mean anything to most people. But in the publishing world, he was a legend. CEO of Webb and Sterling Publishing, the largest independent publisher in North America. Net worth $2.7 billion, his company had published 17 Pulitzer Prize winners and countless bestsellers. But Jonathan wasn't there on business. He was there because he was lost, not literally, emotionally, spiritually. 3 weeks ago, his wife of 27 years had died. Cancer. It had been fast and brutal. She'd loved bookstores real, physical bookstores, where you could smell the books and discover unexpected treasures. She'd dragged him to hundreds of them over the years. "Books aren't just words on a page," she used to say. "They're portals, escape routes, friends, therapists, time machines, and bookstores are where the magic happens." After she died, Jonathan had found himself visiting bookstores, trying to feel close to her again, trying to remember why he'd gotten into publishing in the first place, before it became about profit margins and market share and quarterly earnings. He pulled a book from the shelf, a biography of Eleanor Roosevelt, his wife's favorite historical figure. The book was slightly damaged, the spine cracked, the cover corner bent. "I'll take this one," he thought, heading toward the counter. The bell chimed. A woman in her late 20s entered, holding the hand of a girl about 8 years old. The woman, Clara Martinez, looked exhausted, the kind of exhaustion that came from working multiple jobs and still not having enough. The girl, Lily, had eyes that were too serious for her age, but lit up when she saw the shelves of books. "Remember," Clara said softly to her daughter, "we're just looking. we can't buy anything today." Lily nodded solemnly, but her hand reached out to touch the spines of books as they passed, like she was greeting old friends she wasn't allowed to bring home. Jennifer watched them from behind the counter, her heart aching. She'd seen this before, parents who wanted desperately to give their children books but couldn't afford them. She saw the way Lily's eyes lingered on a colorful chapter book about a girl detective. Saw the way Clara checked the price tag and winced, gently steering her daughter away. They browsed for 10 minutes. Clara was careful not to let Lily pick up anything, knowing the heartbreak of having to put it back. But Lily was drawn to a display of slightly damaged books, the ones Jennifer had marked down but couldn't sell even at discount prices. "Mommy, look," Lily whispered, picking up a book with a torn cover. "This one is about a girl who loves reading, like me." Clara looked at the price. Even damaged, it was $8.99. They had $12 to last until her paycheck on Tuesday. She needed that money for gas to get to work, and maybe some bread and peanut butter. "Honey, we can't today. Maybe for my birthday?" Lily's voice was hopeful but resigned. She'd heard "maybe for your birthday" many times before. Her birthday was 7 months away. "Maybe, we'll see." Clara's voice cracked. She blinked back tears, hating herself for not being able to afford a $9 book for her daughter, who loved reading more than anything in the world. Jonathan, still pretending to browse nearby, heard every word. He saw the way the little girl carefully put the book back, her fingers lingering on the cover. Saw the shame in the mother's eyes. Lily stood in front of the damaged book section for a long moment. Then, with the careful courage of a child who'd learned not to ask for things, she approached the counter where Jennifer stood. "Excuse me, ma'am?" Lily's voice was soft, polite. Jennifer looked down at the serious little face. "Yes, sweetie?" Do you have damaged books my daughter can have?" Lily stopped, confused. "No, wait, do you have damaged books my mom can have? For me, because I'm her daughter? Books that are too broken to sell? That you were going to throw away?" The question hung in the air. Clara rushed over, mortified. "Lily, I'm so sorry. We weren't." But Jennifer's eyes had filled with tears. This little girl, asking for books too damaged to sell, because she couldn't afford the ones that were merely discounted. Jonathan, standing near the biography section, froze. His hands tightened on the Eleanor Roosevelt biography he was holding. Jennifer came around the counter and knelt down to Lily's level. "Honey, what's your name?" Lily Martinez. I'm 8. I can read at a 6th grade level. My teacher said so." She said this with quiet pride. 6th grade? That's amazing." Jennifer smiled. "Lily, we don't throw away damaged books, but you know what? We have a special program for excellent readers like you." "You do?" Lily's eyes widened. "We do. It's called the Readers Club, and members of the Readers Club get to take home 1 book per week, free, especially books that need a good home." This was not an actual program. Jennifer was making it up on the spot. But what else could she do? Let this child who loved books walk away empty-handed? Clara's eyes filled with tears. "You don't have to." "I insist," Jennifer said firmly. "Lily, why don't you pick out 3 books from the damaged section? Your first week's book, plus 2 extras because you're our newest member." Lily looked at her mother, afraid to hope. Clara, despite her pride, despite her shame, nodded, because how could she deny her daughter this? Lily selected her books with the careful deliberation of someone choosing treasure. The detective book, a fantasy novel about a girl who discovered she had magic, and a collection of poetry. Jennifer wrapped them carefully in brown paper. "These are very special books, Lily. They're a little damaged on the outside, but the stories inside are perfect, just like people, right? Sometimes we're a little worn or broken on the outside, but our stories are still beautiful." Lily hugged the books to her chest like they were made of gold. Thank you so much. I promise I'll take really good care of them. I'll treat them like treasures." "I know you will." Jennifer looked at Clara. "You can come back next week for more. Just keep reading, keep loving books. That's all I ask." Clara couldn't speak. She just nodded, tears streaming down her face, and guided Lily toward the door. As they were leaving, Lily turned back. "Miss Jennifer, when I grow up, I want to have a bookstore just like yours, where kids can come and feel magic. Is that silly?" Jennifer's voice was thick with emotion. "That's not silly at all. That's the best dream I've ever heard." After they left, Jennifer stood at the counter, crying openly. She'd just given away 3 books she couldn't afford to give away. Books that represented maybe $20 in revenue, $20 she desperately needed. But she'd seen the look on Lily's face, and somehow that was worth more than the money. "That was the most beautiful thing I've seen in years." Jennifer jumped, startled. She'd forgotten about the man in the biography section. She quickly wiped her eyes. "I'm sorry, can I help you?" Jonathan approached the counter, carrying the Eleanor Roosevelt biography. "This, please, and I'd like to pay for those books you just gave away." "That's not necessary, please." Jonathan's voice was gentle but firm. "Let me do this small thing." Jennifer nodded, processing his purchase, and accepting the $50 bill he offered for the books Lily had taken. It was far more than they were worth, but she was too overwhelmed to argue. As she made change, Jonathan asked, "How long have you owned this store?" "Technically, I don't own it. I inherited it from my grandmother 3 years ago, but it's been in my family for over 70 years. Jennifer paused. "Why do you ask?" "Because bookstores like this are dying, and it's a tragedy." Jonathan looked around at the shelves, the worn carpet, the leaky corner where a bucket caught drips from the ceiling. "But you're still here, still fighting. Why?" Jennifer didn't know why she was being so honest with a stranger. Maybe because she'd already cried in front of him. Maybe because she was just exhausted. Because places like this matter. Amazon can deliver books to your door in a day, sure, but they can't give you the feeling of discovering a book you didn't know you needed. They can't give you a conversation with a bookseller who knows your taste. They can't give you a community of readers. They can't. Her voice broke. They can't give a little girl who can't afford books. A place where someone sees her and her love of reading matters more than profit. Jonathan was quiet for a long moment. Then, "What's your name?" "Jennifer Morrison." "Jennifer, I'm Jonathan Webb." He extended his hand. The name meant nothing to her. She shook his hand, confused. Webb and Sterling Publishing? We're the company that publishes... Jennifer's eyes went wide. "You're Jonathan Webb? The Jonathan Webb?" She dealt with his sales reps, his catalogs. Webb and Sterling was one of the biggest independent publishers in the world. "I prefer just Jonathan," he smiled. "And I've been standing in your store for an hour, watching how you operate, watching how you treat customers, watching how you just gave away books to a child who needed them. And I realized something. What's that? I've forgotten why I got into publishing. I've spent the last 20 years focusing on numbers and profits and market shares. But books aren't about that. They're about what you just did for that little girl. They're about magic and possibility and giving people windows into other worlds. His voice grew thick. My wife died 3 weeks ago. She loved bookstores, really loved them. And I think I've been visiting them, trying to remember what she saw in them, trying to feel close to her again. Jennifer didn't know what to say. Today I remembered. I watched you take a financial loss to give a child books. I watched you create a fake program on the spot because you couldn't bear to let her leave empty-handed. I watched you choose kindness over profit, and it reminded me what books are really for. He pulled out a business card. I want to help you save this store, not buy it, not take it over, help you save it, because the world needs places like this, and people like you. Jennifer stared at the card, not quite believing what she was hearing. I don't understand. Why would you? Because 3 weeks ago, my wife and I were at a bookstore in Seattle. Small place, like this one. She bought a book of poetry. We sat in their little cafe area, and she read to me for an hour. He paused, composing himself. It was the last time I saw her truly happy. 2 days later, she was in the hospital, and a week after that, she was gone. I'm so sorry. She made me promise something before she died. She made me promise I'd use my resources to save independent bookstores, to keep the magic alive. I've been trying to figure out how to honor that promise. And then today, I walked into your store and watched you give away books you can't afford to give away. Watched you choose a child's joy over your own financial survival. And I knew this is where I start. Jonathan sat down with Jennifer for 2 hours. He looked at her books, the actual financial books. He was appalled but not surprised. The store was hemorrhaging money. The building needed repairs. Inventory was low. Marketing was non-existent. You're right to be worried, Jonathan said. As is, this store will close in about 3 months. Jennifer's heart sank. Hearing it confirmed made it real. But, Jonathan continued, it doesn't have to be that way. Here's what I'm proposing. Webb and Sterling has been looking for a way to support independent bookstores. We've been watching them die one by one, and it's killing the book industry. Corporate chains and online retailers are destroying the ecosystem that helps readers discover books. He pulled out his laptop. What if we created a partnership? Webb and Sterling invests in your store, pays off your debts, handles repairs, improves inventory. In exchange, you become our flagship independent bookstore partner. You test our new titles, host our authors, give us feedback on what real readers want. You keep complete creative control. You stay owner. But you get the financial backing to survive. Why would you do this? Because I can afford to. Because my wife would have wanted me to. And because if I can save one bookstore, maybe I can figure out how to save more. Maybe we can create a model that keeps independent bookstores alive. He paused. And selfishly, because I need to do something good, something that matters. I've been drowning in grief and meaninglessness. This feels like a purpose. Jennifer couldn't speak, couldn't process what she was hearing. There's one condition, Jonathan added, that Readers Club you invented. I want you to make it real. I want this store to be a place where kids who can't afford books can still have access to them, where a love of reading matters more than the ability to pay. Webb and Sterling will fund it. We'll call it the Rebecca Webb Readers Club, after my wife. Tears streamed down Jennifer's face. I don't know what to say. Say yes. Let me help you save this place. Let me do something good with my wealth. Let me honor my wife's memory by keeping the magic alive. Yes, Jennifer whispered. Yes, absolutely yes. The Page-Turner bookstore had been transformed. Not into something fancy or corporate, it still had its vintage charm. But the roof was fixed, the carpet was new, the shelves were properly stocked. They'd added a small cafe area. Most importantly, they'd launched the Rebecca Webb Readers Club. Every Saturday, children from low-income families came to the store for a free book and a reading circle. Lily Martinez was there every week, now helping younger children pick out books. Her mother, Clara, had been hired as the program coordinator, a part-time job that paid enough to get them into a small apartment. The store was thriving. Jonathan's investment and the publicity around the Readers Club had brought in customers, real customers who bought books and supported the mission. David, Jennifer's ex-husband, had apologized and asked to be more involved again. He'd been wrong, he admitted. Some things were worth fighting for, even when the numbers didn't make sense. On this particular Saturday, the store was hosting a special event. Jonathan Webb was there to read to the children and officially announce the expansion of the Rebecca Webb Readers Club to 10 more independent bookstores across the country. Lily sat in the front row, clutching a new book, one of many she now owned. When Jonathan finished reading, she raised her hand. Yes, Lily. Mr. Webb, is it true that you started all of this because you saw me asking for damaged books? The room went quiet. Jonathan came down from the small stage and knelt beside her chair. Yes, he said simply. I was having a very hard time. I'd lost someone I loved very much, and I'd forgotten why books mattered, why bookstores mattered. But then I heard you ask for damaged books because you loved reading so much that even broken books were treasures to you, and it reminded me what this is all about. My mom says you're a hero. Jonathan smiled, but his eyes were sad. No, honey, I'm just a man trying to do something good. The heroes are people like Miss Jennifer, who give away books they can't afford to give away. And kids like you, who love reading so much that you're brave enough to ask for help. And your wife, Lily added seriously. Your wife who loved bookstores. She's a hero, too. Jonathan's eyes filled with tears. Yes, she was. The biggest hero I ever knew. After the event, as the store closed for the evening, Jonathan stood alone in the biography section where he'd first overheard Lily's question. Jennifer approached him quietly. Are you okay? I am, actually, for the first time in a long time. He pulled the Eleanor Roosevelt biography from his bag, the one he'd bought that first day. I haven't been able to read this yet, but I think I'm ready now. Rebecca and I were going to read it together. Maybe I can read it and feel like she's still with me. She is, Jennifer said gently. Every time a child gets a free book, every time someone discovers a story they needed, every time this store stays open one more day, she's here. Her love is here. Jonathan nodded, unable to speak. You know what Lily told me last week? Jennifer continued. She said when she grows up, she wants to be a book hero like you and me. She wants to make sure every kid can read, no matter what. That little girl is going to change the world. She already has. She changed yours and mine. The Rebecca Webb Readers Club had expanded to 50 bookstores across North America. Jonathan had invested millions in keeping independent bookstores alive. It had become his mission, his purpose, his way of honoring Rebecca's memory. But his favorite place was still the page turner, where it had all started. On a rainy Tuesday evening, he sat in the cafe area, finally reading the Eleanor Roosevelt biography. Lily was nearby, curled up in a chair with her own book. She'd become a fixture at the store, almost like a mascot. A woman entered, holding a young boy's hand. The boy's eyes went wide at the shelves of books. The woman looked uncertain, probably calculating what she could afford. Jennifer was at the counter, but before she could speak, Lily jumped up. "Excuse me," Lily said to the woman. "Does your son like to read?" The woman smiled sadly. "He loves it, but we can't really afford." "Oh, he should join the Readers Club. It's free. Kids get books every week, and there's reading time and snacks, and it's the best thing ever." Lily's enthusiasm was infectious. The boy's face lit up. "Really? Free books? Really, truly?" Lily took his hand. "Come on, I'll show you the good ones." Jonathan watched Lily lead the boy to the children's section, chattering about her favorite books, completely unself-conscious about the fact that she'd once been exactly where this boy was now. Jennifer sat down across from Jonathan. "She's something special." "She really is." Jonathan closed his book. "You know what Rebecca said to me the day before she died?" "What?" She said, "Don't waste your money on a fancy memorial or a foundation with our name on some building. Give books to kids who need them. Keep the magic alive. That's how you honor me." I thought I understood what she meant, but I didn't. Not really. Not until I heard Lily ask for damaged books. And now? Now I understand. It's not about the money or the buildings or even the books themselves. It's about what books represent possibility, escape, imagination, hope. It's about making sure that every child, regardless of their circumstances, gets to experience that magic. A tear ran down his cheek. Rebecca would have loved Lily, would have loved this place, would have loved seeing what her dying wish created. "She does see it," Jennifer said. "Somehow, somewhere, she sees it. And she's proud of you." The page turner hosted a special event for the one-year anniversary of the Rebecca Webb Readers Club. Over 100 bookstores were now part of the program. Thousands of children had received free books. Several kids from the program had won regional reading competitions. The story had been covered by national media, but the most important person at the event was Lily Martinez, now 9 years old, who'd been invited to speak. She stood at the microphone, nervous but determined. Clara, her mother, watched from the front row, tears already streaming down her face. She'd been promoted to regional coordinator for the Readers Club, a full-time job with benefits. They'd moved into a real apartment. Lily had her own room, with bookshelves filled with books. "Hi," Lily began. "My name is Lily Martinez. A year ago, I came into this bookstore and asked for damaged books because I couldn't afford real ones. I thought books that were broken on the outside were the only ones I deserved." The room was silent, everyone listening. Miss Jennifer gave me books that day, not damaged ones, good ones. And she created a whole program just because I asked. Mr. Webb helped make it real and shared it with other bookstores. And now thousands of kids like me get to have books. Lily's voice grew stronger. But the most important thing I learned isn't about books, it's about people. I learned that there are people who see kids like me, kids whose families don't have a lot of money, and they don't just see poverty. They see potential. They see readers. They see futures. She looked at Jonathan. Mr. Webb, I know you started this because of your wife, because you loved her and wanted to honor her memory. But you should know you didn't just honor her. You changed my life. You changed my mom's life. You changed hundreds of kids' lives. Jonathan was crying openly now. I'm not a damaged book, Lily continued, her voice ringing clear. I was never damaged. I was just a story waiting to be read. And you gave me the chance, so thank you. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for seeing all of us. The room erupted in applause, but Lily wasn't finished. I have an announcement, she said. I've been saving my allowance my mom gives me $5 a week, now because she has a real job. And I've been saving every penny. I have $247, and I want to donate it to the Readers Club, so other kids can have what you gave me. Clara gasped. Jennifer and Jonathan both stood, moved beyond words. Lily, you don't have to, Jonathan started. Yes, I do, because that's what you taught me. When you have something good, you share it. When you've been helped, you help others. That's what books teach us, and that's what you showed me. She held out an envelope with her carefully saved money. This is for the kids who are like I was, the kids who think they're damaged, the kids who need someone to see them. Jonathan took the envelope with shaking hands. Lily, I'm going to match your donation. $247 from you, $247,000 from me. Deal? Lily's eyes went wide. Really? Really, huh? Because you're right. We help each other. We see each other. We share the magic. That's what Rebecca would have wanted. That's what books teach us. That's what good people do. The Rebecca Webb Readers Club was now in 500 bookstores across North America and expanding internationally. It had provided free books to over 100,000 children. Several of those children had gone on to publish their own stories. The program had won national awards for literacy promotion, but the heart of it remained the Page Turner bookstore. Lily Martinez, now 14, worked there part-time after school. She led the reading circles for younger children. She helped families find the right books. She'd become exactly what she'd dreamed of, a book hero. She was also writing her own book, a middle-grade novel about a girl who loved reading but couldn't afford books, and discovered that the real magic wasn't in the books themselves, but in the people who believed in her. Jonathan Webb still visited regularly. He'd published a memoir about grief, bookstores, and finding purpose after loss. All proceeds went to the Readers Club. He'd also started a program providing college scholarships for kids from the Readers Club who wanted to study literature, education, or publishing. One evening, Jonathan sat in the cafe area reviewing manuscripts. Lily brought him coffee. She'd learned how he liked it over the years. Mr. Webb, can I ask you something? Always. Do you think Mrs. Webb would be proud of all of this? Jonathan smiled, the sadness in his eyes softened by time and purpose. I think she'd be amazed and proud, and probably a little amused that it all started because I was eavesdropping in a bookstore. Do you still miss her? Every day, but the missing isn't as sharp anymore. It's gentler now. And when I come here, when I see kids discovering books, when I see what you've become, his voice caught. I feel like she's still here. Her love is still here. Her belief that books can change lives is still here. Lily nodded thoughtfully. I'm going to dedicate my book to her, and to you, and to Miss Jennifer, and to my mom, and to all the people who see kids like me and give us chances. That's a lot of dedications. There are a lot of heroes, Lily smiled. I used to think I needed to be fixed because I couldn't afford books, like I was damaged, but you all taught me that asking for help isn't damage, it's courage. And giving help isn't charity, it's humanity. Jonathan stood and hugged her. You know what? You're going to be fine, better than fine. You're going to change the world, Lily Martinez. I'm going to try, because that's what books taught me, and that's what you showed me. That one person asking one question can start something that helps thousands. She paused. Do you remember what I asked that first day? Do you have damaged books my daughter can have? Yeah, except I got it wrong because I was nervous. I meant to say for me, but said my daughter instead. Lily laughed. But maybe I got it right after all. Maybe I was asking for my future daughter, for the next generation, for all the kids who'll come after me who need someone to give them a chance. Jonathan felt his eyes well up. Rebecca would have loved you so much. I wish I could have met her. You do every day, every time you help a kid find a book, every time you lead a reading circle, every time you show kindness to someone who's struggling. That's Rebecca. That's her legacy, and yours. That night, after the store closed, Jennifer stood alone among the shelves. She thought about that day a year ago when she'd been on the verge of losing everything, when a little girl had asked for damaged books, when a grieving billionaire had been listening. How many moments in life changed everything? How many small interactions rippled out into transformation? She thought about her grandmother, who'd built this store on the belief that books mattered. About Rebecca Webb, who'd loved bookstores enough to make their preservation her dying wish. About Jonathan, who'd turned grief into purpose. About Clara, who'd swallowed her pride to ask for help for her daughter. About Lily, who'd asked for damaged books and sparked a movement. The register chimed softly. They'd had their best year ever, financially stable, thriving, making a difference. Jennifer turned off the lights, but before she left, she did what she did every night. She stood at the damaged books section, which they still kept, now as part of the Readers Club display, and whispered, "Thank you, Lily. Thank you for being brave enough to ask. Thank you for reminding us why we do this." And in the darkness, surrounded by thousands of stories, the magic lived on. If this story moved you, we need your help to keep the magic alive. Like this video if you believe every child deserves access to books, regardless of their family's income. Comment and tell us, what was the first book that changed your life? Have you ever not been able to afford something that mattered to you? Have you ever been the person who helped or the person who needed help? Your story matters. Share it. Subscribe for more stories about ordinary people, creating extraordinary change through simple acts of kindness. Share this video with teachers who are buying school supplies with their own money, parents struggling to provide for their kids, anyone who works at a bookstore or library, everyone who believes literacy changes lives. But here's what we really need you to do. Support your local independent bookstore. They're not just businesses, they're community centers. They're where kids discover reading. They're where lonely people find connection. They're where magic happens. This week, Do one of these things. 1. Buy a book from an independent bookstore instead of Amazon 2. Donate books to your local library or school. 3. Volunteer to read to kids at libraries or community centers. 4. Start a little free library in your neighborhood. 5. Sponsor a child's reading program through organizations like First Book. Or do what Lily did. Ask if there's a way to help kids who can't afford books. You don't need to be a billionaire to change a child's life. You just need to care. Drop a green if you remember the magic of getting your first book. Drop a blue if someone's generosity once changed your life. Drop a red if you're going to support a local bookstore this week. To every parent who's ever felt ashamed they couldn't afford books for their kids, your worth is not measured by what you can buy. Your love is not measured by your bank account. And there are people and programs out there who want to help. Don't be afraid to ask. Asking for help for your child is courage, not weakness. To every person who's ever worked at a bookstore, library, or literacy program, you're not just selling or lending books. You're changing lives. You're opening worlds. You're giving hope. Never underestimate the impact of what you do. To every person with resources who wonders how to make a difference, this is how. See the need. Fill it. Don't wait for someone else. Don't wait for the perfect program. Just help. One person, one family, one child at a time. Real organizations. Doing this work. First Book provides books to kids in need. Bernie's Book. Bank distributes books to underserved children. Reach Out and Read gives books at pediatric checkups. Room to Read literacy programs worldwide. Your local independent bookstore's community programs. New stories every week about people who chose kindness over profit, generosity over greed, and humanity over convenience. See you in the next story right after you support a local bookstore or donate a book to a child in need.